Lucky Luciano was one of the most powerful crime bosses in American history. His real name was Salvatore Lucania. He was born in 1897 in Sicily, Italy. When Luciano was a child, his family moved to New York City. They settled in a poor neighborhood on the Lower East Side. Life there was hard and crowded. Luciano quit school at a young age. He began making money on the streets. At first, it was small crime, gambling, extortion, protection rackets. As a teenager, Luciano joined local gangs. He learned how crime really worked. Power mattered more than rules. Money mattered more than loyalty. Luciano was different from older mob leaders. He did not care about old traditions. He cared about efficiency and profit. This mindset helped him rise fast. During the 1920s, Prohibition changed everything. Alcohol was illegal, but demand was huge. Luciano helped build large smuggling networks. These operations made millions of dollars. Violence was common during this time. Gang wars broke out across New York. Old leaders fought to keep control. Luciano saw an opportunity. In 1931, Luciano helped remove two powerful bosses. This ended a long mafia war. After this, Luciano became the top figure in organized crime. Instead of ruling alone, he changed the system. He created the Commission. This group allowed crime families to work together. It reduced conflict and increased profits. Luciano treated crime like a business. Meetings replaced street wars. Planning replaced chaos. This reshaped organized crime in America, but his success drew attention. Law enforcement began targeting him. The man leading the effort was prosecutor Thomas Dewey. In 1936, Luciano was arrested. He was charged with running a large prostitution operation. He was found guilty and sentenced to prison. Luciano was sent away for many years. But even behind bars, his influence remained. He still had connections. He still had power. During World War II, the U.S. government made a deal. Luciano helped protect New York ports from sabotage. In return, his sentence was reduced. In 1946, Luciano was released, but he was deported to Italy. He was never allowed back into the United States. Luciano tried to control crime from overseas, but distance weakened his grip. New leaders slowly took his place. He spent his final years moving between Italy and Cuba. His power faded, but his name did not. Lucky Luciano died in 1962 from a heart attack. He was 64 years old. Luciano changed organized crime forever. He modernized the mafia. He turned street gangs into nationwide networks. Many crime bosses followed his model. His system lasted for decades. Even today, his influence is still felt. Lucky Luciano was not just a criminal. He was an organizer and strategist, a man who reshaped crime in America. Jesse James was one of the most famous outlaws in American history. He was born in 1847 in Missouri. He grew up during a time of deep conflict in the United States. His family lived in a border state during the Civil War. The war divided neighbors and families. Violence became part of daily life. As a teenager, Jesse was exposed to brutality. Local fighters attacked his home. These events shaped his anger and worldview. After the Civil War, Jesse turned to crime. He joined his older brother, Frank James. Together, they formed a gang of former soldiers. The gang robbed banks, trains, and stagecoaches. They struck quickly and disappeared fast. Law enforcement struggled to stop them. Jesse became known for bold robberies. He was calm under pressure. He was also skilled with weapons. Newspapers played a major role in his fame. Some writers portrayed him as a rebel hero. They claimed he fought corrupt banks and railroads. This image was misleading. Most victims were ordinary people. Innocent lives were often put at risk. As years passed, the pressure grew. Rewards were offered for Jesse's capture. Members of his gang were killed or arrested. Trust inside the group began to break down. Fear replaced loyalty. Jesse became more cautious and isolated. In 1882, Jesse was living under a false name. Two gang members shared his home. They were secretly working with the authorities. One morning, Jesse stood on a chair to fix a picture. In that moment, he was shot in the back. He died instantly. Jesse James was only 34 years old. His killer was later pardoned. The public reaction was mixed. Some mourned Jesse as a legend. Others saw justice finally served. The myth continued to grow. Jesse James became a symbol of the Old West, a mix of rebellion, violence, and fame. His story shows how myth can outlive truth. Billy the Kid was one of the most famous outlaws in American history. His real name was Henry McCarty. He was born in 1859. Likely in New York City. Billy grew up poor. His father died early. His mother moved often, looking for work and safety. Life was unstable from the start. As a teenager, Billy moved west. The American frontier was rough and lawless. Jobs were scarce. Violence was common. Billy committed his first crime while still very young. It was a small theft, but it marked the beginning of a dangerous path. Soon, Billy became involved in the Lincoln County War in New Mexico. This was a violent conflict over money and power. Local groups fought for control. The law was weak and often corrupt. Billy joined one side of the conflict. He worked as a gunman. During this time, he killed his first man. He claimed it was in self-defense. As the violence grew, Billy's reputation spread. People said he was fast with a gun. They said he was fearless. Some even admired him. Billy was young, but already dangerous. He was accused of killing several men. The exact number is still debated. Stories grew larger with each retelling. To some locals, Billy was a criminal. To others, he was a folk hero. They saw him as a rebel fighting unfair power. This image helped build his legend. Eventually, the law caught up with him. Billy was arrested and put on trial. He was convicted of murder. The sentence was death by hanging. Billy did not accept this fate. In 1881, he escaped from jail. During the escape, 2 guards were killed. This made him even more wanted. The man hunting Billy was Pat Garrett, a former friend. Garrett knew Billy well. He believed the only way to stop him was deadly force. Later that year, Garrett tracked Billy down. They met in a dark room in Fort Sumner, New Mexico. The encounter was brief. Garrett shot Billy. Billy the Kid died at just 21 years old. His life was short, but his story lived on. Books, films, and songs kept his legend alive. Over time, the real men became mixed with myth. Some see Billy as a cold killer. Others see a young man trapped by his time. Billy the Kid represents the violent side of the Old West, a place with weak laws and hard lives, where survival often meant choosing violence. His story is not just about crime. It is about chaos, power, and myth, and how legends are born from tragedy. Osama bin Laden was one of the most infamous figures in modern history. He became the leader of the terrorist group Al-Qaeda. His actions changed global politics and security. Bin Laden was born in 1957 in Saudi Arabia. His family was very wealthy. They owned a large construction company with close ties to the government. He grew up with privilege and education. He studied religion and engineering. At first, his life looked stable and comfortable. In the 1980s, war broke out in Afghanistan. Foreign fighters traveled there to fight Soviet forces. Bin Laden joined this cause. During this time, he helped raise money and supplies. He built training camps and support networks. These connections later became very important. After the war, Bin Laden became more radical. He believed Western influence was corrupting the Muslim world. His views grew more extreme over time. In 1988, he helped form Al-Qaeda. The group aimed to fight Western targets. Violence became its main tool. Bin Laden moved between countries to avoid capture. He lived in Sudan for several years. Later, he returned to Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda carried out attacks during the 1990s. These included bombings of U.S. embassies in Africa. Many people were killed. The most deadly attacks came on September 11, 2001. Hijacked planes struck New York and Washington, D.C. Nearly 3,000 people died. These attacks shocked the world. They led to long wars and global security changes. Bin Laden became the most wanted man on earth. For years, he avoided capture. He lived in hiding. He used trusted messengers instead of phones or the internet. The search lasted nearly a decade. U.S. intelligence tracked his network slowly and carefully. One key lead came from a courier. In 2011, U.S. forces found Bin Laden in Pakistan. He was living in a guarded compound. A nighttime operation was launched. Bin Laden was killed during the raid. His body was later buried at sea. The mission marked the end of a long manhunt. Bin Laden's death did not end terrorism, but it closed a major chapter. His actions left deep scars around the world. He is remembered for destruction and loss, for fear spread across nations, and for how one man's choices led to global tragedy. Al Capone was one of the most famous gangsters in American history. His full name was Alphonse Gabriel Capone. He was born in 1899 in Brooklyn, New York. Capone grew up in a poor immigrant family. His parents came from Italy. The neighborhood was crowded and rough. He left school as a teenager. Soon after, he joined street gangs. Violence and crime became part of daily life. Capone earned the nickname Scarface after a street fight. The scars stayed with him for life. They became part of his image. In the early 1920s, Capone moved to Chicago. The city was growing fast. So was organized crime. This was the era of prohibition. Alcohol was illegal, but people still wanted it. Capone saw a huge opportunity. He helped run bootlegging operations. Illegal bars and clubs spread across the city. Money poured in every day. Capone rose quickly through the ranks. He became the leader of a powerful crime group. His organization controlled alcohol, gambling, and prostitution. Violence was used to protect power. Rival gangs fought for territory. Shootings became common. One event shocked the nation. In 1929, 7 men were killed in the seedy Valentine's Day massacre. Capone was widely blamed, though never charged. To the public, Capone showed another face. He dressed well. He gave money to charities. Some people saw him as a hero, but behind the scenes, fear ruled. Witnesses were threatened. Enemies were removed. Law enforcement tried for years to stop him, but proving violent crimes was difficult. Capone covered his tracks well. In the end, the government used a different approach. They focused on tax evasion. Capone had not paid taxes on his income. In 1931, Capone was convicted. He was sentenced to prison. This marked the fall of his empire. Capone was sent to Alcatraz. Life there was strict and isolated. His health began to fail. He suffered from untreated illness. His mind slowly declined. The power he once had was gone. Capone was released early due to poor health. He returned to Florida. He lived quietly and stayed out of crime. Al Capone died in 1947. At the age of 48, he left behind a powerful legend. Capone became a symbol of Prohibition-era crime, a mix of wealth, violence, and fame. His story shows how crime can rise fast and fall hard. Meyer Lansky was one of the most important figures in American organized crime. He was known as the financial brain of the mob. Unlike many others, he avoided violence whenever possible. Lansky was born in 1902 in what is now Belarus. His family was Jewish and very poor. They moved to New York City when he was a child. Lansky grew up on the streets of the Lower East Side. Crime was common in his neighborhood. Gangs formed along ethnic lines. Survival came first. As a teenager, Lansky met Lucky Luciano. The two formed a close partnership. They believed crime should be organized, not chaotic. This idea shaped their future. Lansky focused on numbers, not guns. He was good at math and planning. He understood risk, profit, and control. This made him valuable. During Prohibition, Lansky helped build bootlegging networks. Alcohol was illegal, but demand was high. These operations made huge amounts of money. Lansky helped manage the money flow. He set up gambling houses and casinos. He moved money quietly across borders. He avoided attention. He also helped connect Jewish and Italian gangs. This was rare at the time. Lansky believed business mattered more than background. Profit came first. As organized crime grew, Lansky became more powerful. He helped create gambling operations in Florida, Cuba, and Las Vegas. Las Vegas was still a small desert town. Lansky saw its potential early. Casinos became a major source of income. Money flowed in every day. Lansky made sure profits were hidden and protected. Despite his influence, Lansky tried to stay clean in public. He dressed well. He avoided flashy behavior. He rarely carried a weapon. Law enforcement suspected Lansky for decades, but proving his crimes was difficult. He left very little paper trail. In the 1960s, the U.S. government increased pressure. Lansky was investigated for tax crimes. He tried to escape prosecution by moving to Israel. He believed Israel would protect him, but the request was denied. Lansky was forced to return to the United States. In the end, Lansky was never convicted of major crimes. He lived quietly in his later years. Many believed he had large amounts of money, but no proof was found. Meyer Lansky died in 1983. At the age of 80, he did not die rich on paper, but his influence was undeniable. Lansky helped turn crime into a business. He proved power did not always require violence. His methods shaped organized crime for generations. He remains one of the most strategic figures in criminal history. A man who ruled through money, not fear. John Gotti was one of the most famous mob bosses in American history. He was born in 1940 in New York City. He grew up in a poor neighborhood in Brooklyn. Gotti left school early. He got involved in street crime as a teenager. Small jobs turned into bigger ones. By the 1960s, Gotti was working with the Gambino crime family. This was one of the most powerful groups in New York. Gotti was known for being bold and aggressive. He did not hide from attention. He dressed in sharp suits. He liked being seen in public. In 1985, Gotti made a major move. He helped arrange the killing of the family's boss. After that, Gotti took control. As leader, Gotti ruled through fear and loyalty. His crew made money from gambling, loans, and construction scams. Violence was used to protect power. The media gave him a nickname. They called him the Teflon Don. Cases against him kept falling apart. Witnesses stayed silent. Juries failed to convict him. This made Gotti seem untouchable, but law enforcement did not give up. They changed their strategy. They focused on wiretaps and insiders. One of Gotti's closest men turned against him. Secret recordings revealed his crimes. This time, the evidence was strong. In 1992, Gotti was convicted. He was sentenced to life in prison. His reign ended. Gotti spent his final years in a federal prison. His health declined. The spotlight faded. John Gotti died in 2002 from cancer. He was 61 years old. Gotti became a symbol of modern organized crime. Flashy, powerful, and temporary. His story shows that fame can be a weakness. In the end, attention helped bring him down. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was the leader of the extremist group, ISIS. He became one of the most wanted men in the world. His rise was tied to war and chaos in the Middle East. He was born in 1971 in Iraq. He studied religion and earned advanced degrees. For many years, he lived a quiet life. Everything changed after the 2003 Iraq War. The country fell into disorder. Armed groups began to form. Baghdadi joined an extremist network. He was arrested by U.S. forces and held in prison. This time helped him build connections. After his release, he rose quickly. He took control of a violent group linked to Al-Qaeda. Later, he broke away and formed ISIS. ISIS used extreme violence and fear. They took land in Iraq and Syria. They controlled cities and oil fields. In 2014, Baghdadi declared himself a caliph. This claim shocked the world. Many groups rejected it. ISIS carried out attacks and executions. Videos spread online. Fear spread across many countries. A global coalition fought back. Airstrikes and ground forces pushed ISIS back. Their territory shrank year by year. Baghdadi went into hiding. He moved often and avoided communication. His network slowly collapsed. In 2019, U.S. forces tracked him down in Syria. During a raid, Baghdadi killed himself. The operation ended his leadership. Baghdadi's death weakened ISIS, but the damage remained. His legacy is one of destruction and loss.